Hello, Merry Christmas. Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas. It is the Christmas edition of the Get Hired and LinkedIn Growth Live. I'm hoping that everybody today is as much Christmas spirit as I am. I'm wearing the hat, so what more can I do? I know that Nena for sure will definitely be wearing some of that today. So look, as usual, it's great to see you all. No, you're not going to be wearing a silly season jumper or any of that tinsel glitter rubbish either. Couldn't find my bar hum. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, somebody's not in the Christmas spirit, but hopefully one or two of the rest of you might be. You've gone for tinsel. Okay, I think so, Foxy. Put some tinsel in your hair. As usual, everybody, make sure you say hello, introduce yourselves. Let's see where you are on this festive occasion, whether you are somewhere hot or whether you are hopefully somewhere nice and snowy and feeling quite festive today. Foxy, hello. Look, it's been a crazy week for me. The video I posted on Monday has had 2,000 views. Amazing. Got me over 70 new subscribers. And, oh, fantastic news. You've got a new great perm roll. A big round of congratulations. That is good Christmas news. Father Christmas has come early. Foxy, I'm really super pleased for you. Absolutely super pleased for you. That is such good news and really just goes to show that look, all that sort of hard work and effort really does pay off. It absolutely does. And I think, certainly, I'm sure you've probably seen, Foxy, as well. Look, the difference that I think everybody's noticed in terms of what you've been putting together and what's happened on LinkedIn, I think absolutely. And your YouTube channel is amazing. As also my weekly push for it. Make sure you check out Foxy's Lab. It is amazing. It's really, really good. And it's won vidIQ's Creator of the Year award. If we were that clever and we had a round of applause sounding through, we'd be doing that all as well. So look, fantastic. What an amazing end to the year for you as well. It's good to see. I think lots more people are coming in once again. We're going to have a great end of the year. Philip, I'm not even going to attempt to say what that is from Aberystwyth because my Welsh is terrible, so it really won't work. But great to see you as well. It's good to see everybody from all of these different walks of life. I don't know about you, but I always find the last 2 weeks before Christmas tends to be the busiest times in any business. I think what ends up happening is that everywhere starts looking to feel, how do we put everything and squeeze everything together? Because they all know that the last couple of weeks of December, the beginning of January is a complete write-off. So everybody starts working super, super busy up until this point. And then obviously at the end of today, it all winds down. So then it's more or less finished. But look, it's great to see everybody. I can see a few more from here coming in. Christopher, good to see you as well from Surrey Hills. Lovely part of the world. It is very, very beautiful down there. It's great to see you as well. And absolutely, look, the whole point of what we want to do today is to really start looking at, first of all, I think it would be quite good just to get a little bit of a review of what we've been talking about over the last few months that we've been running this LinkedIn Live. It's been going now for very nearly 6 months, which is amazing. And we've built such an amazing community of people, all super supportive, everybody giving really great advice to each other and helping people out. And what's really great to see is that each week now we're seeing people coming in here and talking about the fact they've got a new role, they've started to find a new job, etc. So it's something really, really good to see as well. So I want to talk a little bit about what we've gone through this year and some of the great hints of what we should be doing. But also, more importantly, I want to actually also look to see, what can you do over the Christmas period other than overeat and over drink and go to sleep a little bit and try and ignore Great Aunt Flo who's come down to stay with you for a few days and then maybe stay beyond their welcome. But a little bit more of that, of what you can practically do when you're going out there as well. So look, let's go back, I think, a little bit in terms of what we've been doing. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, I think, for a lot. And I think for everyone who's joined here, the real purpose of this was to really try and look at, see, how do we get past what's happening in the jobs market, which has been really super tough this year. And I think for a lot of people, it has been a real struggle this year. And even more so as we've seen that the job figures keep coming out in the UK and in other economies as well. They don't look good. So the news can always be pretty tough to deal with. And it can be really draining for job seekers. If you're looking to try and get a job, it can be absolutely draining. And that normal focus of applying for jobs, not getting heard, thinking you're really good for a role and nothing much happening on that side, it can be super tough for it. And that was really the whole reason for us to put this particular LinkedIn Live together. What I wanted to do was to really give back in a super visual, direct, and hopefully helpful way to as many people as I can, to try and help people to try and find out how to try and make sense of the market and how to get around it, how to actually get seen, how to actually get yourself in front of the people who are making decisions. How do we start getting through there? Some of the things that we've come across and we've spoken about have covered everything, just about every topic, from how do you make yourself visible on LinkedIn? How do you really break through it? How do you create content, doing your comments? How do you make yourself as visible to the right people that you need to do? What do you need to do in interview? We've looked at a little bit of that when you actually get to it. And also what to do in terms of that connection with individuals out there. And really important, and I think one of the biggest topics that we've done is dealt with is that sort of ageism topic of how do you deal when you are a certain age and you're struggling to get seen. And part of that, I saw, I don't know whether you saw on this online, and I'm not going to name and shame, but we saw a post this week that really encapsulated a lot. And I wanted to share this with you because it's a post that came up on LinkedIn from a recruiter, and a pretty experienced recruiter. And I guess it was probably put together a little bit clumsily. But I think what I want to do is to really sort of explain that or not. So my glamorous assistant has shared this on the screen for us. I'm pleased to say that James has come back from Australia. He went down there to go and watch the cricket. Obviously, that was a little bit disappointing to watch the cricket, watch England play any kind of cricket down there. But he's now back. So as you can tell already, everything's a little bit smoother in terms of what we've got out here. But look, let me read this out to you because I think it's really important for us to have a look. So the post went like this: if someone is 100% match for your job description, you're hiring the wrong person. Think about it. This is a conversation I have every single hiring manager before a job is even advertised. If they tick every single box, they've already done this job before, possibly multiple times. And do you know what happens next? They'll probably get bored and leave. Hire people who stretch into the role, the ones who meet 70 to 80% of the criteria, etc. So that's the message. I suspect that what the recruiter was trying to say, but probably in quite a clumsy way, was what they're trying to do is to try and make sure that the hiring manager isn't too picky. And picky saying, I just want people who are ticking the box, and if they don't tick every single thing in there, that I don't want to see them. I suspect that's what he's trying to say. However, the point is there a lot that what a lot of you are probably feeling out there is exactly this. That I have had so many messages from candidates that have said, I literally ticked every single box in the job description and I've been rejected. How has that happened? And that is exactly how it's happening, because there are literally recruiters out there that are advocating this. Now, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they, what they're actually putting up here is just clumsy and they're trying to make a slightly different point. But the point is the same. The recruiter is essentially saying, if they're ticking every box, I don't think we should be doing it. Let's get the people who can roll into the role. And that clearly isn't right. And I'm sure that every single one of you has probably had an experience like this, where you have applied for a role, you've seen it, and you think, I tick every single box on that. Why, what am I actually doing here? Why am I being rejected, or why am I being ghosted when I should actually have, I have everything on there. But what this actually does is it really shows why the application process is so badly broken. Philip, over the year, there have been too many posts that are just clickbait. And I agree. And I think this is probably what that is. It's exactly that. It's sort of, what do they call it? on here. I'm not down with it. James would probably tell. Oh, rage bait. That's it. That's what they call it. A bit of rage bait. So it's sort of designed to try and really get you angry and to try and can't help yourself and trigger you and hook you in. And I suspect that's probably what that was. But look, let's see whether or not. Sorry, Jane. Okay, rejected without even having a conversation. The worst. Absolutely, I agree, and it's absolutely something that just should not happen at all. Foxy, I can see. Look, multiple times that you've seen that you've had that as well. It absolutely is something that happens way too much. But I wanted to share that with you because look, I don't want to be negative, especially this time of year, to all of my colleagues in recruiting and talent acquisition and across the world, because I work with some incredible people, some super professional who do things really, really well. Absolutely. And you can be rest assured that there are plenty out there that are really good. But unfortunately, there are some recruiters, there are some hiring managers, there are some companies that don't do the things that are either sensible, are either logical, or and as we've seen a lot, are even lawful. There are unfortunately organizations and people who don't do things that they should do. Carolyn, this has been the case with every role I've applied for this year. I'm so sorry. That is, and unfortunately, I know it's not great for you to hear it, but it's some kind of comfort. The fact is, Carolyn, you're not alone. The fact is that way too many people have experienced that. But that was the main reason why I wanted to do this LinkedIn Live, why I wanted to produce so much content, to really help people out there, to try and explain, look, this is the problem with the way that recruiting has been done for decades. And it's now got to a point where we've sort of got that pivot point and a meeting of all different things, of a system that's badly out of date, that is going through a recruitment process that's just wildly wrong. There's a lot of misconceptions about how you should be recruiting, and then you add into that the fact that AI and technology is making life even more difficult. One, as we've talked about before, for candidates where it's super easy to apply, so they're getting thousands and thousands more applications being pumped into it, often not right. And then you've got it the other way around, where AI is screening through individuals. So they're getting more and more systems are being adopted, admittedly more so in the US than it is necessarily over here, but absolutely they're starting to get integrated into the hiring process and auto screening. So that's starting to happen. The good news is that, look, they tend not to just do that and not inform you. So, and especially in Europe and the UK, they will absolutely have to inform you that there is an AI system using an algorithm that is doing that. So they will have to inform you to do that. So if you're not getting informed that, I'm afraid it really is a human being at the other end that is just not doing the things they should be doing. So you add in all of those things, and that's the reason why it's so badly broken, and why what I'm advocating is a way of getting around it, of making sure that you can get yourself visible and seen, because that's the main issue, is that candidates are just not getting seen. They're not being found properly. And what we're trying to do here is show how you can be seen, not just by recruiters who are actively searching and looking and finding you, but also the managers themselves, the business directly, their colleagues, the owners of the company, the directors of the company, the VPs of it, the leaders in that particular area, the people who would be your peers in that area. That's what's going to make it important to find talent in the future, and that's what the next stage of it will be. So look, I'm sorry to have shared that with you. I don't mean to. I should be trying to keep it as upbeat and positive in a Christmas festive edition of the Get Hired and LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Growth Live. But it's important, I think, to share that and to understand that that's not just a sole post. It might be somebody who's just expressed that out there. There are a lot of people out there that still think that. And so it makes it even more vital and critical for us to make sure that you're finding ways to get round those biases. So look, what do we think that sort of changed. We understand that things have changed a lot, and I've talked about AI a lot and the way that there is, and some of those areas, and a lot of those sort of myths that I think are still being spouted out to people. I could probably have shared a whole mass of posts. Perhaps I should have done that. I should have screenshotted an awful lot of them that I look at and just, I sigh and just look and think, oh my goodness, why are people still doing that? There's still a lot of advice that people are giving that are still based on that traditional broken old form of recruiting. So people will still talk about CVs. They'll still talk about how to apply. They'll still talk about, whether you should put your hobbies in or not put your hobbies in, whether you should put your education in or whatever in your CVs. To be honest with you, you could put as much or as little and make it 10 pages long, 2 pages long. The issue is that even if you're the most qualified person in the world with the perfect template that you could ever have with it, you're still being rejected or you're still being ignored because that actual system is broken. It's not the fact of whether you can tweak your CV or you can go and spend a bit of money on a new CV template and then abracadabra, you've suddenly got an interview out of it. It's just not working like that, unfortunately. So I think the way that it's going to be, and this is what I think is important to look at and reiterate as we're moving into 2026, can you believe how time is flying incredibly fast? But what's really important is to sort of look at that and think, okay, what's going to be the future? What are people looking to do going forward? We spoke and we had a whole session on AI and what will happen to be that as well. Indeed, Jane, the great green banner debate, that was a big one we had this year. In fact, I even had the polls coming through that I had over 600 votes on whether or not people should have the green banner. I'm pleased to say there was still quite a lot of people that were okay to have the green banner. And there wasn't very many that was dissing, but there was still a fair amount on that. Foxy, I think the green banner is worth it just for the satisfaction you feel when you finally take it off. Yeah, that's a good one. I like your thinking. It's important to reiterate while we're on that and on that subject of it, don't forget, if you are searching, absolutely 100% make sure that you have the private one on, the one that recruiters only can see. Super important to make sure that is so that you can get seen. When recruiters are using LinkedIn Recruiter to search for candidates, I can guarantee you 99% of them will filter it to who's open to work first. That will be the first people that they will look for. Esther, I read something about ranking on LinkedIn. When the recruiter runs a search, does the candidate sits on the top or bottom of the list? It mentioned updating skills criteria frequently because our skills don't stay stagnant. Not sure how true it is, but thought it was interesting. Is a really good point. And that's sort of partially true in some way. So if you think about it, without sharing their product, which I don't think LinkedIn would be very happy if I'm overly sharing their the LinkedIn Recruiter product with you directly in terms of the search, but I can describe it and tell you how that works. Essentially, you can search on numerous things. So not just in terms of location and whether they're open to work, whether they've engaged with you, on job title, on skills that they have, on keywords that you have within it. You can do it based on how longevity in a role, how long they've done with that, the type of university they've gone to, the type of qualification they have, numerous things, absolutely numerous things. And you set as a recruiter exactly what it is that you want to find. And you put that in there and then it'll refine it. It's become a lot more sophisticated. So, over the years, I would say like 5-6 years ago, it was a lot more basic in where it is, which is why less people were using it a lot, but you had to be super skilled in it to understand how the nuances of how to do it. With the way that AI is brought in, they've really upgraded in terms of all of that search capability in there. It's become a lot quicker, a lot more accurate. And absolutely, in terms of what you see first, it will provide to you the people who have got the closer match, depending on what it is that you as the recruiter have said, that's what I want. And there are so many different variances to what you can have. But let me put it this way. The new product, Hiring Assistant, that LinkedIn have, which is their AI search tool, you can put into that, you can speak to it just like you would do with ChatGPT. you can just put a job description in there if you want and say, here's the job description, you do it and go and find me the best candidates. And it'll ping out 15 candidates for you in less than a minute. Something that searching would have taken hours to do, you can literally do in a minute now. And that's why that whole process is going to be much more so in terms to do that. Jane, I also heard that you should update something in your headline weekly as this brings you higher up in search results. Well, yes and no. I mean, I think it's a great idea to continually update and upgrade your profile. You know, I do sound like a broken record all the time. I'm constantly saying, make sure that when you do that, optimize your LinkedIn profile, make sure you do your banner, make sure you do your about us, make sure that you put your keywords in there. So I think, Jane, that's good advice. I think, I think you should all get used to, I know it's a bit of a pain, but get used to tweaking it once a week. Have a look and think, is it for what I'm trying to attract, for where I'm trying to go, for what I'm trying to do? How should I slightly tweak that? Am I getting seen by the right people? Are they finding me well enough? Look at it from a point of view of, if I was searching my profile, I was a recruiter, would I be finding myself and think this is good? Try and think a little bit how recruiters are trying to find the roles that you do, whether it's in finance, whether it's in marketing, whether it's a software engineer, whatever it is. Try and think of it a little bit. So that's the best way to sort of describe what to put in your profile of, if I was looking for me to hire, what are the kind of keywords I'd be putting into that search string to try and work out what it is that I need? And then make sure you're putting that in there. So I think it's good advice, Jane, to constantly be changing it. We talk about that LinkedIn profile is your shop window. Treat it like that. This is marketing. And it is, at the end of the day, this is a marketing exercise. It's you can say and pretty it up that it's a job application, it's a hiring exercise, recruitment. But in essence, what we're suggesting, look, you've got to be good at marketing. You're marketing yourself, and you should know yourself quite well. You should be your best advocate, but make sure you show that off in a way that people are going to find you. I think that would be something that will work for you in that respect. So look, absolutely. Tiny, hey, Randall, great to see you. Do the number of endorsements on a particular skill carry any weight in searches? It depends what they've written in there. So if you have, let's say that I'm looking, for instance, for someone with Java skills, it will search the entirety of your profile to see where Java has been written. So if you put it as a keyword search, it will pick it up. And then what I see is I'll just see a long list of people who have that with all the other elements in there. And if somebody has written that in the recommendations and say, Randall's got amazing skills in Java, this is the reason why we hired him in the first place, it'll show that. And it'll then highlight it to say, there it is, that's where it is that it's been picked up. So yeah, it'll pick up anywhere. I think the recommendations, are really good to do. I'm a big advocate of it. I know that they're right at the bottom, but they're at the bottom for a reason, because when you go on Amazon and you look for a product and you look and find it and you think, I'm not sure whether to get it, I suspect that a lot of us probably go down to the reviews and go and have a look and see what they look like. And you know that you have to scroll down to the bottom, or you can press the little button that will take you directly there. But you will probably go and do it. And then you think, oh yeah, I feel more comfortable because, 24 people have bought this product and all given it a 5-star rating and thought it was wonderful. And we might not necessarily do the star ratings for recommendations, but absolutely recruiters will have a quick flick down there. Not all of them, but a lot of them will do. And then they feel more comforted by the fact that you've got a good recommendation. So 100% push out to go and get them. I think they're really valuable. Nena, I know I need to tweak my profile while I'm on a break. Just realized my job history is a bit out of date. I mean, absolutely. Look, it's important to keep it up to date. And that sort of brings about, look, what should we be advocating to do over Christmas? And I know I put a few pieces of content, a couple of posts out specifically about that, even a poll to try and find out what people were doing. And the whole purpose of this festive edition was to sort of say, well, look, we're going to be all having, give or take, a couple of weeks off, a week and a half, a few days. whatever it might be. What should I be doing? First, don't worry. I'm not advocating, like Ebenezer Scrooge, that we should be all coming in on Christmas Day and working with a little bucket full of coal and making sure that we're going to get on to write out our posts on LinkedIn. So you're not going to have to do that. That's the good news. The extent to what you want to do is up to you. But I think it's an amazing opportunity to do something over Christmas, because, and this is how I think about it. And don't worry, just go with me on this. I'm still not advocating that you're going to be working on Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Don't worry about that. Because what tends to happen, what does everybody do? I guess all of us, certainly I know what I'm going to do. When it comes to maybe even that I finish the day before Christmas Eve, and I'm going to switch off from that afternoon onwards, switched off. Laptop down, not going to be getting involved, not going to do anything. Christmas Eve, same. I'm going with my family. Christmas Day, absolutely, like everybody, I'm going to overeat. I'm going to probably be asleep for at least 3 hours of it, regretting the fact that I've eaten so much, and then obviously go back for seconds, obviously just to keep on doing that. And then on Boxing Day, I'm probably not going to feel that great, because I know full well that it's not, that it's, I've overeaten. I shouldn't have done that, but I'm still going to go back for more because there's plenty left there. But what I also know is that what I'll probably do in some of those down moments is I'll probably pick up my phone and I'll still start scrolling. I'll still start looking at different bits of social media of different places. I'll start to interact a little bit. I probably will. Am I going to be writing posts? Absolutely 100% not. I'm not going to be doing that. Incredibly unlikely. I might do something after the Christmas period has stopped, but certainly over that period, I won't. So what do you think we can do? Because I think a lot of people are probably still going to be scrolling. I think there's going to be a lot of activity of people still doing it. So there's an opportunity there. So here's what I think you could do. So here's the options, and it's completely up to you whether or not you wish to do that. But what I will be doing is I'm scheduling, and I've already scheduled most of my posts. So I'll still be posting. I'll still be putting content out there. They might be more related to the audience and what I think people are going to be doing at that time. So, are people going to be wanting a really heavy post, maybe something a little bit lighter, something a little bit more authentic, more to do with the time that is happening? So yeah, I'll do something on that. But I won't be needing to post because I've already done it. So if you have the time, absolutely schedule it. The scheduler in LinkedIn is super good. So I would strongly recommend, when you've got a bit of time over the weekend, maybe schedule a couple of posts for next week over that period of time, so you're covering yourself. The next bit you could do, because I'm such a big advocate of it, is commenting. Commenting is a great way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with being able, if you're scrolling through it, don't just be the scroller. Make sure that if you want to see something and you quite like it, put a comment in there, because I'll guarantee you that visibility will be super high over that period of time. So there's lots you can do. That being said, if you want to spend 2 days at least completely social media free, fill your boots and do it, because absolutely we all need to take a break sometimes, and Christmas is a fantastic opportunity to do that. So there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. See, I just signed my contract. I have live as we're going. You are signing the contract. That's the most amazing. That's a first on this Get Hired LinkedIn Live, that we've had a live signing of a contract. I think that's amazing to see. And we should see if we can try and do this even more so. Maybe what we could try and do is see if we'll give the advice each week, and then each week we should set maybe this could be the new challenge, that the next LinkedIn Live, we've got to have 2 rather than just one signing of a contract. Let's have 2. Maybe what we should be doing is, and certainly for next year, I'm fully intended to make it a little bit more interactive, and maybe even working on different people's screens, and we can start sharing some of that. But also, we could sort of share the screen with. We should have shared the box in, does the signing live with the pen in the old-fashioned way. We should do it that way. But always good to see. Nena, I tried convincing my old boss to give me a recommendation. The grimace on his face told me everything I need to know. Apparently, if I tell what to write, he'll post it. It kind of defeats the object, right? Yeah, that does a little bit. It does a little bit, but he's still got to approve it, hasn't he? So maybe what he's doing is he's trying to get you to give some content to him that he feels that can happen. And yeah, I've probably had individuals done a similar thing to me in the past as well. But look, it's good to ask, and I think it's good to have those on there, and especially people who you've worked with, work for. I think those are super valuable. If you're in a client facing, getting a client to do it as well, so it doesn't have to be people you've worked with or worked for. It could be also somebody who's been someone that you've supplied goods or services to, so a client of yours, or it could be the other way around, that you are the recipient of a supplier. Maybe that sort of relationship. It could be always worth doing it. Nigel, I presume there will be no LinkedIn lives for the next couple of weeks. Incredibly, no. I'm going to take a break. I think it's important to do that. So I'm afraid for the next 3 weeks we're not going to do it. I contemplated whether or not we should do a LinkedIn live direct from my having the Christmas lunch and doing that, but my family weren't too keen on that idea. But so no, I'm not going to have one. The next one will be the second Friday we come back, whatever date that is. I think that's the 9th. I can't remember. I think the first Friday is the 2nd, so we're not going to do it on that one. So it'll be after that, and then we will be back roaring with a new version of what it is, a lot more interactive. I want to start doing, I think, and let me know whether you think this could be useful for everyone. I think it could be quite good for us to also do some work on actually sharing screens. I know that when I often give a shout out to Amelia Sordell, who has sort of moved her session away from LinkedIn Lives and does a webinar herself, but great stuff, great tips on branding as well. Do check her out. But also what I really liked about it was that there was an awful lot of sharing of screens and going through a profile, going through a post and giving direct advice. And I think that could be potentially quite useful if people are up for having a live audit of something and getting some idea of it, having a look at the profile, giving some tips. I think that might be really useful for people as well. I'm more than happy to do it. So if anybody is keen to volunteer their services to do that, I'll be kind, don't worry. Then absolutely let us know and we can do that. Yes, thank you. You see, this is why we need James here. He said the next LinkedIn Live will be January the 9th. Thank you. That's what we were missing the last couple of weeks, all the way from Australia, is people who are helping me out with telling me exactly what the dates are and exactly what it can be done. So look, yeah, absolutely. So we'll be coming back for that one as well. So look, I think it's really important for us to have those sort of practical steps to stay ahead. There's going to be, this is absolutely, there's going to be some time down, but there's also that really important time in between Christmas and New Year as well. And don't forget what is going to be happening the moment that we finish with Christmas. I know Boxing Day, everybody likes to go online and start buying things, but then they start to reflect on the next bit, which is New Year, and everybody does it. What is it? They want to go on a diet, go and get fit, find a new job. And that can be everybody from where if you don't have a job now, you're going to be, desperate, think, crikey, I need to get applying. I need to go on. I need to start doing something. I need to start doing it. Let's start applying, get my CV sorted. And then there's all those other people that think, I've got to go back to work. I absolutely hate it. Oh, dear me. I've got to go back to that. Yeah, I'm going to start looking for a new job. So it becomes, January becomes the busiest time of the year from a recruiter point of view, because they're inundated. If they haven't been inundated already, they are inundated. But obviously, what I'm suggesting is that we need to do is, look, you've got to be smart and got to be clever about it, because I will guarantee you that people will be on LinkedIn. They're going to be absorbing content rather than creating content. It is a massive opportunity for you to be able to get visible, to get seen. And so it's all of those things that we've talked about before, of making sure that when you're producing content, that you're doing meaningful comments, you're adding value, you're making yourself seen in the way that you want to be seen. And it's going to really super help you to do that. So make sure you do it. I can see we've already got a couple of volunteers already. Nena, thank you very much. It's good that, you can be the guinea pig. Absolutely. And Foxy, thank you. Always good. So not that I want to have any competition, but maybe we'll work on one. We'll see who gets in there first. Foxy, a proper video call would be quite nice. Obviously, everyone muted by default. Otherwise, and then we'll just take over. Yeah, exactly. You see, I'm not. I might look daft, especially with my funny hat on, but I know full well what would end up happening if we open this up for everyone to be talking. So yeah, I think a little bit of control there. James will be under strict instructions that on a shared screen, if it gets too much, I'm afraid we're just going to cut the feed. So we make sure that we keep control of it. We're not going to have it going haywire on this session. But look, I think it would be absolutely really, really valuable for everyone. So look, absolutely from a point of view of what we need to be doing next. So don't give up on it. And it's really it's really easy to do that because we super relax and we're having great times and, you know, we're enjoying times with our family and having food and drink and whatever else. It's super thing. You think, oh, you know, it's a bit of a thing. And then you haven't done it for a few days. Then it becomes that. So look, absolutely plan it out a little bit, work out, make sure you put in for yourself to say, I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm not going to be opening up. I'm not going to do stuff on these days. Absolutely fine. But make sure there's a few days that we've got here. There's a few days off, and I'm advocating it because I know that you're going to have a time that you're not going to necessarily get in any other time in the rest of the year. You're going to get a lot of eyes on there, and you're going to have less people posting, less people commenting, which means there's a bigger opportunity. And I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that LinkedIn also know that. I think they will also know that they're going to be struggling for content and they'll start pushing it out. So I think you also have an opportunity that LinkedIn and their wonderful algorithm may well start seeing, if they start to see things that are valuable content around that time, they'll push it a little bit. Christopher, hi, good session, have to run. Thanks all. We'll be posting over Christmas break scheduled. Let's see what happens. Absolutely, absolutely right. And follow up with it. It's great to hear, and best of luck with it, Christopher. It's great to see you here. So thanks so much for coming along as well. And look, and the key is there that, as Christopher said, look, schedule them. You know, you can just, for a little bit of work up front this weekend, just to put a couple of posts out there, it's done. You've scheduled it. You don't even have to think about it. It's all done, and it will magically appear, and it'll magically go on there, and LinkedIn will love you for it. They will absolutely love you for it. Constantly think about your target audience. Who is it that's going to be doing that? What's going to be happening? Who are the people you're going to need to engage with as well? It is, don't forget, it is, and I advocate this all the time, it's smart engagement rather than endless. That quality will beat quantity every single time on here. And so it's important to say, look, if you're putting 20 posts out there that are absolute rubbish, or 20 comments that are just great, rather than 2 comments or 2 posts that are super valuable, are hitting the mark, are giving really good insights, that people will see that more. They are far more valuable than the pointless one. So make sure you look at that. Always think of it as a quality exercise. It's not a quantity exercise. Absolutely not. Now, that being said, of course, if you are capable and you can produce quality at quantity, hey, then you've hit the perfect run. You know, that is the home run one for you. That's the one that you need to do as well. Exactly. Look, I can see Foxy. Time to heavily plug Foxy's lab over Christmas. Absolutely right. It's a great, I mean, that's a time where people are going to be looking at that. And that's a really good point. You know, be super authentic. That's super personal to you. That's really your big thing that you're creating here. And you're really starting to create a great amount of noise. Talk about your award. I mean, what an amazing bit of that. If I haven't seen that already, if you have already posted about that, I apologize. But if not, get out there. Make sure that you're promoting that. Make sure you're letting people know. It's a great bit of news. And I think that's something that people will want to see that as well going forward. So look, what we need to do. We're coming to that point, I think, where we're coming for some towards the end of what our session is here, and the end of 2025. An amazing year in terms of what I've been doing here with that. And I've been watching a lot of you here. There's been plenty of names who have consistently come onto this. Philip, indeed, another one. Philip has been with us on this LinkedIn Live for many weeks now. Watch out for the Zoltan Pantomime Horse Paradox and a Christmas special. Stay safe, everyone, and you, Philip. It's been great to see you here, and thanks for all of your contributions as well. And indeed to all of you. Look, it's been an amazing journey this year. I think 2025 has been tough for a lot of people. What I'm particularly happy with is that how we've managed to get everybody to sort of think differently, think a little bit out of the norm of what we've been conditioned to think. Because what we've been conditioned to think in recruitment is the way that it works is there's a job that's posted up. You very politely send in your CV and a cover letter, if they require it. You sit back and wait politely, and hopefully somebody will deem to see it. And then they'll come back to you if they're particularly interested. Don't call us, we'll call you. And of course, as we know, that's broken really badly. And the core message of everything that I've done here is specifically for job seekers to say, there is a better way of doing it. The world is changing dramatically, and we are seeing that every single day. I'm making a serious point with a Christmas hat on, which is slightly ironic, but it's true. But it has absolutely changed, and recruiting is changing dramatically. And for some people, that's hard to accept. And I say some people hard to accept. It's a lot of them are people within recruitment themselves. And indeed, hiring managers don't often recruit that often, and they stuck with something that they did when they hired somebody 10 years ago. It's hard for them to accept that, life has moved on. The comfort zone that you've been in is changing. Things are different now. It's not going to have to rely as a recruiter. You can't sit there and rely on your great candidates applying to your roles, and you're going to fight because you've got thousands of people there and you're not sure what to do. And then you've got the pressures of the company with budgets going up, going down, with, should we do that? Maybe we should have a look at something internally. Oh, actually, can you pause on that? So there's lots of different pressures that are happening. And then you add into the mix that AI is making going out there and finding candidates, being proactive, super easy, a lot more affordable, and incredibly quicker. And it's going to produce quality talent at a fast rate, far faster than it ever has been posting a job. In fact, if you want to do it the slowest way to try and hire someone, post a job on a job board, sit there and wait for 2 weeks and see what happens. Whereas going out there and being proactive, it'll happen in hours that you could conceivably hire someone. So that's why something has changed. And that's why it's so important with all of this messaging and what we've been doing throughout 2025 to really change that viewpoint of what we've been doing here as well. So next year, so what are we going to be changing and what are we going to be doing? So look, we're still going to be forcing this message of how you get known and how you get visible, how you get seen, and how you use LinkedIn, an incredible product with 1.2 billion people on it, how you can leverage that to make sure that you get seen. And what I really want to do is sort of elevate us to that next level that we're going to have. And part of that next level is going to be, how do you take your content and really specifically target it to your audience? And I think key to that is going to be with these my wonderful guinea pigs who are going to be helping us and continue. Hopefully, lots of people will continue to volunteer to start looking to see how do we start doing that. And we can start doing work both on the LinkedIn profiles. How do we optimize that on different sections of it? What can we start doing in terms of what we can do from a point of view of really sort of drilling in to recommendations, to your keywords? How do you get that on there? And then the content itself. What do we do to do that? I know that's still a real challenge for lots of people, that you can sit there, I'm sure, and it can be so fearful to look at it and think, oh my God, I've got to write something and I'm going to be judged by everyone. They're all going to think I'm crazy. And they're all going to think, who is that person to be putting out their view about it? Who do they think they are? How do we get over that? How do we get over that imposter syndrome? How do we create great content? And we can start looking at that. I think there can be some great ways that we can look at your existing content, have you look at your existing posts, and even we can start doing some sessions I've done often with my private clients as well, and the career coaching that I've been doing and trying to encourage people and how we work on on their content strategy, but also on commenting strategy. That we look to see how easy it is to start doing it. And it's like everything else in life. The more that you start to do it, the better you become at it. And if you do it just sort of once a week, it's a bit tricky to do. You're not going to be, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world if you decide that I'm going to train once every week or once every 2 weeks. It's just not going to happen. You have to do it every single day. You're going to have to do that. You have to constantly have a structure, work out what it is, reflect back on what you've done. How do I improve? What do I change? You're not, unless you're a real natural, you're not going to be super good at it the first week you start creating your content. It takes time to do that. Esther, thanks for the community spirit and insight in these sessions. Have a great Christmas and looking forward to what comes next year. Esther, thank you so much as well. It's been great to see you here. And thanks for all your contributions. You've been really, really good. Philip, great community. Best part of the week. I agree. Thank you. I agree with that as well. And some of the other bits, I think we've developed such an amazing group and an amazing community here. I'm also looking at implementing early next year a number of different initiatives of some group calls, some group interactions that we can have in a community group outside of just the LinkedIn Live, so that we can start having some real meaningful stuff. We can start doing some Q&As outside of this. Foxy, and as always, huge thanks to Nigel. Oh, bless you. I honestly think I owe my success this year in a very large part to you. I still can't believe you do all of this for free. You're a lovely man. Yeah, Foxy doesn't live with me and work with me all the time, so he can only see it from this 1 hour that he sees every year. But look, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But in reality, look, it is down to you. All I am is just giving you the ideas and the advice, and maybe sometimes the bit of the push, because I know that's the bit. But all of us have got that within us. This is the thing. I think, in truth, you all know yourself super well. All of you do. I think the real challenge you've got is not the fact of, who am I? What are my skills? What are my value? You all sort of know that. You all know where your strengths are. You all sort of know deep down where the things, I need to work a bit harder on that. The bit that I think everybody needs help with is how to go out onto the big wide world and start to demonstrate that and market yourself. And especially as we've been taught our whole lives to be quiet, to not show off. Would be taught, if you say something or market yourself like that, we're called a show off. And we don't want to do that. We're told when we're kids, to be quiet. Don't talk when the adults are talking. Well, they certainly said that to me a lot anyway. And so we're conditioned not to do that. And so part of this session is absolutely to try and bring out all the capability and value that you have, all resides within you. Absolutely 100%. So look, absolutely going forward, I appreciate all the very kind comments as well. So look, let's wrap up now. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I absolutely love doing these sessions every week. I love that interaction. I love the community that we've got here. And in particular, I love the fact that we are actually getting results. We're getting things done. It's making a difference. And the feedback that all of you wonderful people give back to me as well is spectacular. Look, thank you all once again. It's been an amazing 2025. I can't wait for 2026. We're going to have some really exciting things coming up as well, including we will be launching our very first conference as well. So, I want to try and push this out to a wider community. So not just the LinkedIn Live, but we're going to start to launch a number of other products that we want to have out there to really help people. Interestingly, Foxy, you said about the fact, I can't believe you do that for free. Look, I'm a great believer in that. So all of my content, everything that I will ever produce is all going to be out there for free. Everything. There may well be, paid products that I will do if people want other things that they want and they wish to do and more in-depth stuff, they absolutely can do that. But 100%, I think it's so important for me, and especially when we're trying to find people jobs and trying to get people to navigate a very, very difficult market, to provide that for everybody so that they all have that opportunity to learn and try and find different things. So I'll continue to do that. But look, thank you all so much. It has been a wonderful 2025. Have an amazing Christmas. I hope that Father Christmas delivers all of the things that you want, whether it's a job or whether it's those socks that I know that everybody really wants, and we're all going to probably get as well. But look, have an amazing time. Enjoy the time off. I will see you back on the 9th in January. We will be publicizing that out. Have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful LinkedIn time. Enjoy that, and I will see you in the new year. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.